Ranked number 93 on Bleacher Report's top 100 NBA players of all time. And these lists are always a lot of fun to talk about because everybody's got an opinion, man. Everybody's list is different.
Yep.
And there are names that are not on this list that we think, or at least I think, should be on this list. There are names that are on this list that you're like, okay, why are they on this list? And then, it depends like on what your criteria is. There's just so many different factors, and it's hard to sort of pick where to start. But since we started with Tatum,
yes,
right, number 93 on the list, and if you check out this Bleacher Report list, it has, which I think is a good feature. It has the because this is a panel of voters. It has the highest ranking by a voter and the lowest top 100 ranking.
Yes.
So in Tatum's case, they landed on 93. His highest top 100 ranking was 55. His lowest top 100 ranking was unranked completely, which shows you the train of thought for people in this whole thing, right?
Right. I mean, the train of thought is just blasphemous, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, just because,
In Tatum's case, or just
in general.
Okay.
In general.
All right.
And
let's get into this.
The reason that I'm, upset about this, top 100 list and Tatum being 93rd on this list is, when you look at the names above Jayson Tatum, or you look at the guys that are around him, he doesn't get the respect that he needs to get. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And there's other guys that are even around him, like a Klay Thompson that I saw that didn't garner respect. He's at 98. The thing about Jayson Tatum is I think people give his team too much credit for the team's success.
Right.
Whenever anybody else wins, it was him. When Curry won and freaking Andre Iguodala won Finals MVP, it was like Curry got so much credit and all this other stuff, and he was still looked at as a top this and top that. But when Jayson Tatum wins, and just because Jaylen Brown had an amazing run, mind you, SGA won its Finals MVP this year.
Yeah.
Shot dang near identical.
Right.
Honestly, a little bit worse than what Jayson Tatum did throughout the 2024 NBA Finals. And no one was over here saying, well, Jalen Williams is the reason that the Thunder won the championship and this and that, and Chet Holmgren. Everyone's giving SGA his flowers. But when Tatum does it, it's not cool enough. It's not flashy enough. I don't know what it is, but because he plays into the team system and he doesn't just go out there and say, yeah, you know what, I'm scoring 40 every night, which we've seen him do. We've seen this kid dunk on everybody's king, LeBron James, number 2 on this list. Dunked on, Game 7.
Second year
Tatum
in the NBA,
rookie.
Man. Yeah. Was that rookie year?
Yes.
Yeah, it was rookie year.
year.
Yeah, that's right. That was
chest
rookie year.
to chest with the king.
That's right, because it was Jalen's second year. That's right.
I'm tired of it, dog.
I like that, man. I like how you got in your soapbox. And you're a tall dude. You don't need to get on any soapbox for you to be heard. So I appreciate that. Yeah, these lists, and I think, all right, so let's get to the Tatum thing. I think the Tatum thing, I think you said it, he's not flashy. He's not a big personality. Right? And he addressed that during the season. He's not the Kevin Garnett type that's going to pound his chest.
Right.
He is not that guy. He is a guy that's just going to go to work and get his and get his.
Yeah.
He does. And it's interesting, you went that direction because we were talking before we went on the show about Tim Duncan and how when Tim Duncan was playing, he didn't get the credit that he deserved
100%.
Until after he retired, and people were like, man, he's the greatest power forward of all time. Right? And so I think Tatum's in that same sort of category.
Right, I would agree. There's going to be a time where we're going to say, wow, man, that dude Jayson Tatum was really, really good. I mean, we talk about closeout games, 50-point opportunities, he's done it. Game winners, he's done it. I mean, everything you dream about as a kid, when you sit there in your room and you shoot the basketball up into your hands like this and, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lift the Larry LB. He's done it, man. The only accolades that he doesn't have is Finals MVP and NBA MVP. But there's guys on this list.
I know.
Who are pegged ahead of him who also do not have these accolades.
Like a Jimmy Butler.
Like a Paul George.
Like a Paul George. Yeah, let's go to the Paul George one because that's interesting, right? And so obviously Paul George, great scorer, sort of a freak, right?
Yes.
Also came back from, devastating injuries, right? And was able to be successful even afterwards. But ahead of Jayson Tatum on this, or that high at least.
Yeah.
That's one of the puzzling things.
78, man.
78. I mean, that's high.
Yeah.
When looking at, for example, and this is something I also pointed out to you, Dikembe Mutombo is one of the greatest defensive centers of all time. He's 81. Like, how is Mutombo behind Paul George on this list when you're assessing, the importance, of Mutombo to the, any roster that he was on? I know he played for a lot of teams, but he's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, man.
Yes.
Like, that's no joke. A 3-time block champion. Like, the defensive prowess of Dikembe Mutombo certainly outweighs anything offensively that Paul George has done. Paul George, offensive player, has never stood out as much offensively as Dikembe Mutombo did defense.
And you're right. And I think that's where it comes into effect, where we have to understand how these people are voting. Culture is involved. Now, when you talk about, I'm with you. I don't think Paul George should be on a list higher than Dikembe Mutombo when you talk about culture, Jayson Tatum about culture, any of that other stuff, just because, we got the finger wag from Mutombo.
No.
Everyone knows that. Paul George, what is his signature moment? I have no idea. Getting shot over Dame.
Right.
Over him.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
But, and dunking on Chris Birdman Anderson, I can't forget that. That was dope. But, when you talk about Paul George, I think cultural effect comes in because he's every young kid's favorite player.
Yeah.
Like, he's these guys who are getting drafted now, these, Dylan Harpers, these Ace Baileys, these kids, like, they love to play like Paul George because when they were coming up, he was the 6'9" guy that put it between his legs, cross behind the back. He had the bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He went toe-to-toe with Bron a couple of times in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those things where Paul George was arising as these young kids are now, falling in love with basketball. And I think that's maybe why some of these writers leaned into Paul George, but I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah. All right. So as we go down this list, we get to our guy Damian Lillard, who's 64, right? We talked about as potentially being, a member of the Celtics this offseason, signing with the team. And then, you go further down, you get to Melo. You cool with Melo at 60? You cool with Melo at 60?
I guess. I mean, the thing about Melo is that when you're talking about, are we talking about, is this the best basketball players? Is this the best NBA players?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how are we looking at this?
And from a marketing perspective too, right?
Right.
Carmelo Anthony and,
Yes. Are they including USA when they're talking about this? Because if you're talking about USA basketball, you got to give Melo a notch for that.
See, I don't think this is no.
So
I think
we're just talking about NBA.
Yeah.
So
because if you're going to do that, you have to, include, some of the international guys, right? And so the great success.
Arvidas,
right. Exactly.
Yeah. So so we're talking about just NBA careers, and I can't have Melo that high.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't have him over at Jayson Tatum. I can't.
Right.
I just can't, and I don't want it to always come back to JT, but, when you start out putting him at 93 and then you're saying, okay, Melo, what did Melo do? He was a great player, but did he sacrifice to win a championship? If Jayson Tatum wanted to go play for the Wizards and average 40 a night, he damn well could.
Right.
And we all know he could.
Those are the best players.
You know what I'm saying? And then we're going to say he's
the
great.
greater good of the team.
Right. But then, you don't have guys in this list. We're going to talk about omissions. You don't have a DeMar DeRozan, who's done a lot of great things on some teams that haven't been that great. You know what I'm saying? Like Carmelo has done.
Right.
So why isn't he on the list, but Carmelo is? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, culture. That's always going to come bagot to it. But I don't agree with it.
Yeah. I want to get to a couple before we get to the omissions because I think we got to address some of the Celtics guys.
Okay.
How about Paul Pierce at 49? Now, Paul Pierce at 49. Dominique Wilkins, another great Celtic. Just kidding. One-time Celtic. At number 50.
Yeah.
And Ray Allen, obviously, former Celtic, number 51.
Yeah.
So, all right. I love Paul Pierce. Dominique Wilkins, man, if we're talking about like the cultural aspect of it,
Yeah.
He never won a title.
Right.
But the human highlight reel, man.
Yes.
I feel like he's got to be higher than Pierce.
You're going with Dominique right there at 48. We have Russell Westbrook. And I don't think that Paul Pierce and Russell Westbrook, if we're talking about impact, dominance, Russell never won one, you know what I mean, and Paul Pierce did. But Those MVP seasons, first triple-double since Oscar Robertson in a season. I mean, man, this dude he has his own shoes, fashion brands, all this other stuff. Like, you know, Paul Pierce, once again, great player. I always think about him. But, like, when we're having these debates of top position this, top position that, I feel like Paul Pierce's name often gets left off the board.
Yep.
And freaking Dominique's and Russell Westbrook's.
Yeah.
All Ray Allen's, you know what I'm saying? When you're talking about greatest, whatever.
Right.
Their names get brought up. Point guard, small forward, shooter of all time, brought up. Greatest Celtic is probably the only time that we bring up Paul Pierce.
You know, but the other thing too, you know, and I think that a lot of that, you talked about it earlier where, you know, guys have their signature moments that stand out, right?
Yeah.
And Pierce, what is Russell Westbrook's signature moment?
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I agree with you, not to take away what you call it, the triple-double MVP is ridiculous, right? I think he has the most triple-doubles in NBA history, too, at this point, right? He passed Oscar Robertson, Magic on that list, too. Paul Pierce has some moments, right? How about mano a mano against LeBron James in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, that legacy, the truth nickname is real. It's the
Shaq.
Truth. Naming him the truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? The wheelchair, I know people like to make fun of it and everything like that, but that was a big moment that people remember. You know, him going into the locker room with the wheelchair, having a knee issue, coming back.
They do remember that, man.
But coming back and playing well and winning that game against Kobe Bryant.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a real moment.
Right.
He did that.